Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of ExoverseTV. I almost forgot what it was called.
It's still fresh.
I am Andrew. I am joined by my fiance Melissa.
Hello.
Hey, and one of my buddies Derek. How you doing, man?
Oh, I thought I was almost fiance for a second.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Switched it up this time.
Yeah.
There must have been a discussion when I left.
Nope. I just that
Introduce me first.
I had to relive that shitty intro that I gave you because that's the beginning. You know, I was doing the audio test, making sure the levels were right when I was uploading the last episode, and I was like, "Son of a bitch!" Yeah, that was sweet. Yeah,
It's all good.
Yeah. So we kind of fibbed to you guys. We said we were just taking like a 15-minute break, and then we were coming back and doing the season 2 review.
They wouldn't have known, and he said it right there.
Yep. No. Yeah.
We're all honest
honesty
here.
is the best policy here in this house. Yes. And so we ended up taking a way longer break than we meant to. So we're meeting up here on Saturday afternoon, and we are going to go ahead and talk about season 2 of HBO's Barry today. The last episode before this, we were talking about season 1. So hopefully you guys checked that out, or at the very least you watched season 1 of Barry before watching season 2 and listening to this.
Yes. This is not Tarantino.
Yeah. Also hopefully that you guys watched season 2 of Barry before listening to this today as well, because we're going to go ahead and follow the same format as the last episode. I've got the kind of wiki synopsis stuff for each of the episodes printed up in front of me, and we're going to kind of just go beat by beat and stop and discuss any of our favorite parts here and everything like that. Once again, just like the previous season, I think we were all pretty thoroughly satisfied with it. There wasn't anything that we were disappointed with. This is another show that we absolutely love. That's why we picked it to talk about here today. Is that correct?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for everybody, but yeah. We're going to go ahead and jump into it just because we're going to go ahead and just keep the flow going because it's the same format as the last one, and that worked out pretty well for us. So, let's see. Let's go ahead and just start here. I've got these extra notes printed up here, but that was mostly just to kind of help burn some things into my brain. I probably won't reference those too much. So let's go ahead and talk about episode 1 of season 2. The show must go on, probably. A few weeks following Moss's disappearance, the police closed the case, citing a lack of leads, sending Jean even further into a grief-stricken withdrawal from life. When the show came back, did you guys feel right away that Moss was dead? Did you at the end of last season, did you feel like he had absolutely killed her? Did you feel like that was left up in the air as a cliffhanger?
I felt like he did.
Yeah, I felt like he did too. So it was kind of like interesting that when it came back this season, it was kind of left up in the air, like kind of a weird mystery to everybody except for Barry, of course. Yeah. What did you think?
I thought he had killed her. I thought the first time I watched it and we had left off from season 1, I thought it was all a dream because those dream sequences were popping up pretty frequently in that first season. And just the way that everybody was acting at the very end, I totally thought maybe that was just a dream. But then when that season picked up again, the second season picked up, it was pretty,
Yeah.
it was there. She was gone.
She gone.
Yeah. So, but the point being that at this point in this episode, it turns out that we're actually unsure of what happened at the end of that night. So it's a pretty interesting opening moment. Upon returning to class after a long absence, Gene declares that the upcoming play is canceled and that he intends to end the class permanently. Barry convinces Gene to continue the class by telling the story of the first time he killed as a soldier, which is pretty intense, right? That was a pretty crazy moment. Yeah. It's really interesting to get insight as to what happened to Barry and why his career as a Marine came to an end, since he was such a good killer and so good at following orders. and we're starting to see that maybe something, went very, very
Wrong,
badly
yeah.
while he was enlisted. NoHo Hank finds his flourishing partnership with Cristobal threatened by Esther, the Burmese gang leader that the Bolivians want to bring into the operation. So we meet her. What do you guys think of her? She's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit! The way that I thought that was a pretty funny gag. The finger thing. What do you call that? That game where you're supposed to try to avoid stabbing your fingers with the knife
Oh, yeah.
while
I
your
don't know
hands
what
on the
it's called,
table.
just-
I thought it was always called speed or something like
Speed?
that. Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. Well, she just subverts all expectations and just, as a way of proving how tough she is, just stabs herself right through the middle of her hand and doesn't flinch. Hank also finds himself facing an assassination attempt from his family back in Chechnya due to his failure to kill Pizar's assassin. Hank claims that Esther was responsible for Pizar's death in an attempt to protect Barry, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Hank, man.
Yeah.
No, yeah. No, Hank's the best.
Hank goes to Barry for help, but Barry is furious with him for approaching him in public and turns him away in one of the saddest scenes
Yeah.
in the series. I really felt bad for Hank. Like,
Yeah.
I was like,
Barry,
fuck you, Barry.
It's me. No,
Yeah.
Hank. Yeah, I know. I'm wearing wig.
Do you have these pants in medium? Those are women's pants. Later, Hank approaches Barry once more and reminds him that Barry owes him for saving his life and threatens to kill Barry if he does not carry out a hit on
Excellent
Esther.
scene.
Yeah, right?
Because as
You
goofy,
told me about
as
how much you love
goofy
that.
and silly as NoHo Hank is, he was hurt by Barry, and he's like every person ever has their real moments, and he had to get.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he didn't want to get this real with Barry, but
Yeah.
it went that way, and you could just see the pain in him, that the fact that he had to do this, but at the same time, it's like, hey, I am mafia,
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of thing. And so, it was such a good scene.
Yeah.
And what makes it so well done too is that and you really he's in the right. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing as the audience how he's come to Barry's aid in more than one situation already, and we're only in the opening episode of season 2. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, Fuchs' unsuccessful attempt to replace Barry back in Cleveland has backfired spectacularly, causing him to get arrested. Unbeknownst to him, his DNA is matched to a missing tooth found at the scene of Pizar's murder. Loach, grief-stricken over the loss of Moss, discovers this and quickly connects Fuchs to Barry, surmising that Barry is the man in the grainy CCTV dash cam footage. So that's the synopsis on that episode. You guys have anything else that stood out to you on that one?
No, I think NoHo took that episode. I'll be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm just so happy just that they didn't kill him off.
Yeah.
And yeah.
He's way too important.
The next episode, The Power of No. Hank enlists Barry to kill Esther, but Barry is reluctant to return to a life of killing. Gene, inspired by Barry's tale of his first kill, tasks the acting class with writing and performing a short piece that perfectly encapsulates their own personal truth. I still don't know if I said that word right, but I'm moving on. So yeah, this is pretty funny. Good moment for good chance for a lot of those actors in that class to come up with some goofy stuff.
Yeah.
To things that haunted them from childhood, and it's all just super cliche,
Ridiculous.
absolute white privilege stuff. What does that one guy say? 6 was the age he was left at a garage sale. Barry, not wanting his truth to be death, convinces Gene to let him tell the story of the day they met. However, after attempting to reconnect with his estranged son Leo, an organic farmer, Gene realizes that he is too self-absorbed and tells Barry that he must tell the Afghanistan story. So we meet Gene's son, who ends up, being pretty cool. I mean, ends up being a
Yeah, he's a decent guy. He
Yeah.
seems like a decent, down to earth kind of guy. He's got like his own, fruit
Yeah.
stand or like at the farmer's market, and
yeah.
seems like he's doing well for
Yeah, he's
himself.
not a
Quite the opposite of his father, who's
Yeah.
like you said, he's very self-indulging.
Yeah.
Himself, where
Well-rounded. That's what I was trying to come up with or whatever. Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's the opposite of
Yeah.
Gene. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and he makes a good point, right? Is it in that moment that they meet where he talks about how your whole everything's a shrine?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
your whole theater is just a shrine to you.
Yeah, he talks about how he.
That's
yeah.
right, because he talks about his and then there were my students, and he's
Yeah.
like, your students, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sally has found minor success under her new agents, but becomes frustrated with the small and insignificant parts she keeps getting cast in. Her agent, Lindsay, urges her to bide her time until the perfect role comes along. So yeah, like Lindsay totally has her back. Like, you know what I mean? Like she kind of comes through this season as because I wasn't yeah, I mean, yeah, she really does have Sally's best interest in mind. She's not kind of just saying those. 'Cause at first, some of the things she says in like, because she's in season 1,
Yeah,
some of the things she says, I thought she was kind of being like a little cliche. You
Yeah,
know?
I didn't know if she really had Sally's interest or not.
Yeah. Do you like that character?
Yeah, she comes off as first like just kind of like a typical agent. She's it's, whatever's gonna get you money gets me money, but she actually cares about Sally's passion and just like, well, let's do things right.
Yeah.
Let's do things that you're gonna be happy with.
Yeah. Loach tracks down Fuchs in Ohio and convinces him to return to Los Angeles and elicit a confession from Barry in order to keep himself out of jail. So that was that moment we were rewatching that earlier, right?
So funny.
Where he tries to like at the last minute just throw himself kind of back behind those bars before they can shut.
He
so
finally
he can't be
gets
questioned.
released, and then
Fuck. Monroe Fuchs, LAPD. Oh. Barry finds himself unable to carry out the hit on Esther and narrowly escapes from the furious Burmese mob, which that was a pretty crazy scene. Yeah, I thought he was gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like I thought when he went, because he almost does it twice.
yeah.
And when he went back for that second time, I thought he was gonna do it. Or I think after the first one too, like the door squeaks when he's closing it, and I just thought she was gonna be right there, like at the door as soon as he opened it that second time. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. Like he tries to escape and kind of that whole gag. He ends up walking through a door and he's walking in on their whole like gaming room.
Yeah.
And there's like 50 of them that just turn and look at him. And it actually, it is a genius idea if it could work that way. I have no idea if anybody could get away with that in real life in any way, but that setup that they have for the monastery where they all pose as
Monks.
yeah, persecuted monks that have come over, and they're allowed to ship like anything over due to religious purposes without it being allowed to be inspected or
So
anything.
funny.
Barry finds himself unable to carry out the... there we go. I just read that. Barry finds Fuchs waiting for him upon returning home and angrily rebuffs him? Oh, man, I don't even... Is that how... Rebuffs?
Yeah.
Rebuffs? Huh. And angrily rebuffs him while a frustrated Loach watches from a surveillance van. So then we realize in that moment that Fuchs is wearing a wire and has decided to cooperate with Loach on trying to burn Barry. How do you feel about Fuchs at that moment?
Oh, dirtbag.
Yeah, I know,
He's
right?
always gonna look out for number one.
It's crazy because I still, even in that moment, it's like you hate that you're mad at him because you like him so much.
Yeah.
Like you really do like that character. He's not like a Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones that you're just like you love to hate. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're actually just genuinely mad at him for what he just decided to do. Next episode, past equals present times future over yesterday. I'm not interested in figuring out that math. Sally has decided to tell the story of the night she left her abusive ex-husband, Sam. but is unable to confront the fact that she never stood up to him. Unwilling to come across as weak, she writes a version of the story that paints her in a stronger light. Hank attempts to kill Barry after finding out about the failed hit on Esther. However, his sniper misses several times and is shot in the shoulder by Barry, furious that they attacked... Oh, geez, this is kind of like a run-on sentence here. Furious that they attacked his apartment while Sally was there. So that was actually a pretty funny scene while Barry's trying to sit there and come up with the way he's going to tell his story about what happened in Korengal. These little tiny little rounds are coming through the window. Yeah, just just zipping through the room just like that. And he kind of just pokes out and he sees Hank and what's the actor's name? The character's name. Oh man, but yeah, that his right hand man is trying to get him to figure out how to assassinate Barry, and they're really close too. Like there's no excuse for him to be missing that bad. He misses like 6 times, and Barry shoots him right in the same spot that Hank had got him before and everything. And that was just like a really funny sequence. I guess like the part where Barry comes and confronts him up on that rooftop. And
so funny.
And he's talking about how, well, this is where he presents an opportunity to train, his men and everything like that. But he's talking about how his guys, Hank talks about how his men suck balls, and the actor's like, if I suck balls, you're king of Suck Balls Mountain. That was like a total like ad lib because Anthony Kerrigan, who plays NoHo Hank, was just like, he just tossed out that sucks balls thing. And like that was one of those scenes too where Bill Hader couldn't look towards the camera at all because he just kept busting up laughing.
They have fun, man. They have fun on the show.
Yeah. And that moment too where I skipped ahead a moment, but when Barry comes to confront them on the rooftop there, and he kind of like scares the shit out of Hank pointing that gun at him, and Hank's just telling him like, just do it, just shoot me, they're gonna kill me anyways, And Barry can't do it because he likes Hank too much, and he doesn't want to be a killer anymore anyways. Like he really just doesn't want to do this shit. And Hank just like pukes in relief. However, you know what? I kind of ended up talking about some of this already. So however, Barry offers instead to train the Chechen men so that Hank can take down the Burmese himself to return to his partnership with Cristobal, while Barry's debt to Hank is paid. Barry decides to tell a different story about the war in which he saved his friend Albert while serving in Korengal. However, he struggles while painting himself in a positive light and laments the fact that he has no one to talk about his experiences with. Barry is once again approached by Fuchs, but this time he welcomes him and asks for advice about how to tell the Korengal story. Fuchs advises him against it, and the two have an emotional reconnection while an increasingly frustrated Loach looks on. So this was kind of just, it's kind of like, this is where I think is kind of like where it's sort of dark humor, where it's like, it's kind of funny that, Fuchs just kind of like breaks down and is just like, I missed you too, man, as a way of like keeping him from like admitting shit, you know what I mean? But it's also very real, you know what I mean? Yeah. They do miss each other a whole lot. And ultimately he is tasked with turning on him. And at the acting class, Barry expresses reluctance at having to choke Sally while playing the role of her ex-husband. Sally and Jean berate him to try and get him in the right headspace, but Barry storms out. Sally follows him and tries to reason with him, but quickly shuts down, and she realizes her ex-husband Sam has shown up in L.A. standing right behind Barry. Yeah. That was a pretty fucking crazy moment. I didn't see that coming at all.
I didn't see it.
I loved it because he storms out of the acting class not wanting to hurt anybody, and he's struggling with just that of just trying to not unleash all this anger that he has. And then as soon as he sees Sam, he's just lit. Up, he's just lights up with rage, and it's
yeah.
Bill Hader's face is so beautifully done in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
that rage just comes out, and it's like,
Yeah.
He's ready.
I'd be like, yeah, I think I'd be pretty scared if I found out that he got that in one take.
right.
I'd instantly be calling for an investigation. Next episode 4, titled "What?" Barry and Sally go to dinner with Sam. This fucking piece of shit guy.
Yeah.
Where Barry is barely able to contain his rage towards the other man, while Sally awkwardly tries to keep things civil. Barry later asks Sally why she was so welcoming to Sam, and she breaks down in his arms as she acknowledges that her scene is a lie, and she didn't stand up to him, instead leaving him in the dead of night while he was asleep. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure if the next line of here was going to go already ahead and discuss this, but yeah, she admits the real truth, and it's actually a really, really good story.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the honesty there, but I guess that's just sort of like what happens when you are, there's just some kind of people that just, they can't see how the fact that she got out of there at all is a major positive. You know what I mean? And it's really interesting. I guess it kind of does help, especially for a guy like me who struggles to like her character. It helps. It helps a lot when she kind of just comes clean about some stuff. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, you got she's one of those people that you tell a truth that you do yourself so many times that it becomes true. And him showing up is the awakening of the actual happening, and it's just like her reawakening to it, because she even called her friend, like, remember when I said this? And he's like, she goes, no, I don't remember that. No, but then I did this. And like, you may have, but not when I was there. It's like that. Oh, yeah, did that really happen, or is that something I just tell myself?
Yeah.
That the truths come out even to her.
Yeah.
She's hidden it from herself.
Sally is distraught about potentially telling the truth about her relationship with Sam on stage, and Barry assures her that it's sometimes okay to keep secrets. Later, Barry sees that Sam has snuck into the theater and witnessed Sally rehearsing the scene. Barry chases Sam back to his car, where a furious Sam insults Sally and drives away. Yeah, this motherfucker, dude. What does he say right there?
Just remember, I fucked her first.
Yeah. Got that shit when it was tight. Ugh.
Yeah.
So gross. So gross. Yeah. I mean, how do you drive away feeling good about yourself at all? Like, you made things worse for yourself, I would imagine, just by saying that out loud to somebody. Sally later gets a call from Sam, which is pretty much immediately later, it seems like, inviting her to come to his hotel so he can give her a gift. And for some reason, she agrees. This part was so stupid. I was like, back to hating this character.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Old habits die hard.
I was like, this is where those women in the writing room really needed to stand up here and be like, wait a minute, no,
Don't go in there.
Yeah, exactly. Once there, Sam's nice guy persona slowly breaks apart, and he demands that Sally not do her scene in order to keep him from appearing in a bad light. Unbeknownst to them both, Barry has traveled to the hotel to kill Sam, resulting in him almost shooting Sally in the face when she opens the door to leave. Damn, dude. Yeah, that was pretty nuts. Yep. Yeah. And then, luckily nobody notices him even there when she storms out, which is kind of ridiculous, but whatever. I love it. I love the show. Barry, ashamed and enraged at himself, goes to Gene's house and begs him for help. Barry opens up to Gene about Korengal, where he reveals that he unknowingly killed an innocent civilian instead of the gunman who shot his friend. Gene, shaken by Barry's confession, urges him not to repeat the story to the acting class and reassures him that people can change their nature, giving Barry hope for his future. But the scene didn't exactly play out quite as nicely as this synopsis gives, because it was pretty hilarious. So he tells the scene he tells the story to Gene, and cuts back to Gene's face, and he's just like, "Holy shit." He's like, how many other people have you told this story to? And he's like, none. And he's like, okay, good. He's like, don't ever tell anybody this story ever again, because I don't know if you realize this, but you killed somebody and got away with it, Barry. Oh, fuck. An ecstatic Barry travels to Fuchs Hotel to share what Jean told him, but Loach manages to get a confession from Barry while there. However, instead of charging and arresting him, Loach uses it to blackmail Barry into killing his ex-wife's new lover. Hence the title of this week's episode, because poor Barry just can't get the fuck away from this hitman lifestyle. He thinks he's been found out and he's going to be sent to prison, and Detective Loach just turns the recorder off, and it turns out that while he was pissed about Moss being killed, the whole reason he wanted to hunt down Barry for this first half of the season was actually so he could just blackmail him into killing his ex-wife's lover. So he turns that recorder off, and he's like, kind of like, okay, that's it. I've done it. And he's talking himself into it, and you think he's talking himself into pulling the trigger on Barry, you know? And Barry's like, come on, don't do anything stupid. And you also think, I feel like in that moment, like, you know, Barry's looking for his opportunity to, like, grab that gun and end up killing Loach. And that's what I think is about to happen, because I feel like Barry's kind of safe, you know?
Yeah.
And then, nope, that is the perfect twist. Turns out that and Barry's the last moment of the scene is just him going, what? And yeah, so that's pretty great. The next episode is also pretty fucking great. It's called Ronnie Lily. Barry,
My favorite episode.
yes, yeah,
Yes.
of the series or the season.
Series.
Wow, yeah. So get ready,
And
folks.
it doesn't even have NoHo in it, which is
I know, right?
Yeah, huh?
I didn't even think about that.
my favorite character's not even in it. It's my favorite episode.
Yeah, so yeah, pay special attention to this one.
Turns out this one was the longest episode.
Yeah, like
But
tied
it felt
for
like
it.
the
Yeah.
shortest. I was like, I need more.
Barry finds Ronnie, Loach's ex-wife, stoner lover, at his house and tries to negotiate a peaceful deal in which he doesn't have to kill anyone. However, while Ronnie is packing to leave, Barry discovers he is a Taekwondo master, and the two battle until Ronnie passes out from a busted windpipe. This entire sequence was like the first 10 minutes of the episode, it seemed like,
Yeah.
right? It's so well done, really cool choreography.
Funny choreography.
Yeah, really like realistic fight, you know? Like, I mean, yeah, there's a couple moments where like some walls look like they're coming like loose or whatever. You'd think somebody would get knocked out from that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, other than that, pretty realistic fight. And yeah, and the windpipe thing's pretty funny. Like Barry's trying to talk him into he's trying to calm him down. He's like, you're hurt, man. Like, you really need to relax. Like, he's trying to nunchuck him to death or whatever. And he's just like, this isn't going to work. And then sure enough, yep, big old frickin' death scene, you know, as far as we know, he at least passes out. Ronnie's daughter, Lily, also proficient in Taekwondo, comes home and viciously attacks Barry before fleeing. So we have this psycho little girl who can kick the shit out of Barry. Just a behind the scenes thing, I guess the stunt coordinator for the series back in season 1 towards the beginning of production mentioned to Bill Hader, hey, I've got this girl like kind of in pocket, like I work with her parents and it's a whole stunt person family. If you ever want to use her, like look at all this crazy stuff she can do. And Bill Hader just kind of like made a note of like, okay, crazy little like girl or whatever. And then eventually when they were coming up with stuff for season 2, he talked about throwing her into some other piece of it. And then as they were hashing things out, which again is just a big benefit of writing all of these, you know, the way that they do, eventually this whole thing became an entire episode in itself. Barry urges Fuchs to drive him to a hospital to treat the stab wound Lily has inflicted on his back, but Fuchs instead takes him to a drugstore and stitches Barry up himself, albeit poorly. So this is one of your favorite parts, right?
It's so funny the way he delivers this line.
So Fuchs pulls up like right up to the drugstore and starts getting out after Barry's told him everything that he needs, and he kind of like nonchalantly sort of, leans back towards the car and is like, "What is it that I even need again?" You want to give the line?
No, because like Fuchs is like, I'm gonna go in and get some water and some corn nuts. You need anything?
Oh, that's right.
Barry's like, needle and thread, because I'm dying.
Needle and thread for stitches, because I'm dying.
It's just the way that he delivers that line, though. It's so hilarious.
Fuchs, furious that Barry left Lily alive, drives around the neighborhood looking for her, but Barry refuses to kill her once they find her. Fuchs attempts to kill her himself, but concludes that she can't be human after seeing her climb a tree and sit perched for hours on top of a roof.
This is just an excellent scene because it's just like, Barry, like, I'm so sorry you had to do that. So, killing people is one thing, but killing a kid, that's tough. So I didn't kill her. Yeah. And he's just, what?
Yeah.
I didn't kill her. So he just puts the car and drives. Well, then we gotta go find her.
Yeah.
We gotta kill her.
As he's like jamming down the street, he's just like, "Is that her? Is that her?"
And he gets out of the car, goes up to her, and she's like, "Hey, little girl, I got some corn nuts. You want to get in the car with my friend?" She's like, who does that?
I know.
Barry's all, don't go out there. Don't go out there. They're just in the car.
Yeah, when he gets back, you're right. She's not human. That night, Lily has still not descended from the roof, and Fuchs is getting impatient. Barry, who has been drifting in and out of consciousness throughout the day, awakens and immediately rips his stitches, causing Fuchs to pour super glue into his wound. While this is happening, Lily sneaks into the backseat of the car and bites Fuchs in the cheek. Fuchs, unable to fight her off because he's glued his hands to the steering wheel, is forced to let her take a chunk out of his cheek and run off.
Shoot her, man!
And this is where she gives that crazy like Velociraptor screech, right? Yeah. Barry and Fuchs returns to the drugstore where Barry finds Ronnie alive and ready to attack again. So this part's fucking awesome too. He hears the windpipe.
He sounds like Wheezy from Toy Story.
Yeah. And Barry just looks over at him, and Ronnie's already staring over at Barry, and he's just like, "Ronnie? Hey, man, it's me, the guy that was in your house." Fucking ridiculous. Like, he still wants to help Ronnie out. He wants to help him get out of here. Yeah. Loach arrives and shoots Ronnie in the face, but Ronnie kills him effortlessly before more police arrive and kill Ronnie, giving Barry a chance to flee. So this whole moment, there's a lot to kind of unpack in that sentence there. Ronnie shows up. Ronnie is staring Barry down. Loach shows up, shoots Ronnie in the face. Then Loach is staring Barry down and starts pretending that Barry's resisting arrest and might have a gun, and he's shouting these things out as to give himself an excuse to also kill Barry. Well, turns out Ronnie still ain't dead, gets up and gives one swift roundhouse kick right to Loach, snaps his neck, and he's dead. He's gone. And
out of the way.
Yep. Yeah. And then the police come in a moment later and fire a few more rounds into Ronnie and take him out, and Barry's able to bail. Freaking ridiculous. As Barry approaches Fuchs' car, he contemplates the nature of their relationship, and it kind of the episode ends on you not knowing whether or not he's going to decide to flee with Fuchs or turn himself in or what. Take off on foot. So that's that crazy ass episode. Anything that you wanted to, since it's your favorite, anything you want? Did I miss anything there?
Oh no, just the ridiculousness that Fuchs and Barry having to deal with this little girl who's very animalistic, just a creature in herself, and how two grown men have such the hardest time, and when she sneaks into the car, it's just like, and they're absolutely terrified of her. It's just genius. It's just really well done.
All right, next episode, The Truth Has a Ring to It. Barry, infuriated that Fuchs is turned on him, breaks off their relationship for good and returns to acting class. Once there, he discovers that Sally has rewritten her scene to tell the truth about her relationship with Sam, but is mortified after doing a cold reading for the class. And yeah, this moment was pretty interesting. I was kind of confused by the class's reaction until Barry kind of chases her backstage and explains that they were thrown off by that's not the version that you told them at first, and so they're just kind of like they just weren't prepared for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a very well acted scene by her.
Yes.
And it is, in my opinion, the right way to tell that story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Barry asks for Gene's help, requesting that Gene help him perform well in Sally's scene in lieu of writing his own. Gene tells Barry to use his own story to find the emotion in Sally's. On stage, Barry taps into his trauma over killing Detective Moss and delivers a spectacular performance, much to Gene's satisfaction, which is fucking this dark little moment where, Gene walks right up to him after that performance and says, Barry, very well done,
So sad.
and that's so but it's such good writing for the series, Lindsay, having witnessed the entire performance, offers to help Sally use it to branch out in her career. Meanwhile, Barry has finished training the Chechens, and Hank gives Barry a pin as a gift for having repaid his debt. Really important to remember that he is given this pin by NoHo Hank. Something that comes up later on in the season. Marbek, a young Chechen, thanks Barry for giving him purpose and showing him how to be useful as a soldier. Yeah, so there's kind of this one standout in the class of recruits that is this just fucking Rambo of a guy.
Yeah.
Like he's
got
just
the gift.
Yeah, and when Barry first notices him, I think the way I interpreted it was that he's just like, I need to keep this kid from doing this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I felt like that he was hoping to scare him off.
Like almost like exactly, like it's like you're going down a narrow path here.
Yeah. And then so as Hank prepares to ambush Esther, he is surprised to find that his whole army has been captured after an accordion player he had previously insulted them sold them out to Esther and Cristobal. So that moment was hella fucking funny, dude.
Are
Like,
you fucking kidding me?
yeah. At least his right hand man guy didn't sell him out too, because I wasn't sure of that. I had to double check that on the rewatch.
Yeah, 'cause
that
they
guy
are
was
quite a
also
bit.
cut off guard.
Yeah.
Like, Fuchs, furious at Barry, begins to comb through the woods near Gene's cabin and eventually finds Moss's body, where he rejoices that he now has leverage over Barry. So we get confirmation.
He gets so pissed that he feels basically replaced by Gene.
Yeah. Yeah, because
and
Barry
that hurts him so much.
Yeah, at the beginning of that episode, Barry tells him, that Gene is the kind of guy who understands him, and that that Fuchs doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And of course, we brushed over that part, but yeah, Fuchs in that scene tells him like, "Oh yeah, he understands you because you told him this story. Well, did you tell him about how you killed his girlfriend?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
And
like
that's the only thing that Fuchs has is,
Yeah.
Gene knows what Barry really wants to be and who he really wants to be, but Fuchs knows all of his dirty little secrets because that's basically how he's trained him.
Yeah.
And that's where Barry struggles, but that's all that Barry has ever known. And in the last episode when he's bleeding out and he's coming in and out of consciousness, he's in these sequences he's being let go from the military. Everybody's being let go from the military, and they're all coming together, meeting their
families, wives. All that
yeah,
stuff.
and he doesn't have anyone. He just keeps walking until all of a sudden everyone's gone and there's just Fuchs.
It's just Fuchs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like those moments
Yeah.
that they cut to.
Yeah.
It kind of gives it that another layer.
Yeah,
you know.
and those were definitely in place of season 1 had where he imagined the future, where now he's getting flashbacks of the past in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the first one's definitely where the first season was like where he could go, and this season's definitely where he's been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Audition is the name of the next episode. Sally turns down the supposedly empowering TV role she is offered involving abused women killing their husbands that is little more than revenge porn. I think I wrote down here what the title, Payback Ladies. It's that time of the month for revenge was the tagline for it. Holy shit. Yeah, but you know, as far as we know, I don't work in that industry, but I'm gonna say it's accurate. She is jealous when Barry, after being spotted in her agent's lobby, lands an audition for a lead role in a major feature film just because of his height.
Yeah,
The guy's like, "How tall are you?" And he's like 6'2", and he's just like hands him his card, gets him lands him an audition, a director session with Jay Roach. Yeah, so that's pretty funny. While Barry gets acting advice from Gene, Lindsay offers Sally the opportunity to have the acting class perform their scenes on a large stage in order to get Sally's story out into the world. This kind of like glosses over though one of the funnier parts of that episode where Gene is reviewing the script that Barry has, and he's going over the lines, and he's just like, "Oh no!" He's like, "You say we're just a bunch of swim instructors. That's the title. They can't cut that." He's just like freaking out, like, "Oh my god, like you're not ready for this," you know. And at first, you know, I wasn't sure if there was going to be some kind of like weird twist where the reason why Gene wanted to help him so much was because he was going to try to steal the role from him.
there
You
was
know
some
what I mean?
jealousy in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when he offered to be a scene partner, I was like, "Oh no, I really fucking hope that doesn't happen." And it's not. We'll find out. We'll find out what does take place. Let's see here. After Hank's men escape a burning bus and shootout with the Bolivians and Burmese, they abandon him due to his poor leadership choices and turn to Marbek as a leader because, yeah, he basically confesses to everybody right there on the bus while he thinks they're all going to die that he's basically an optometrist by nature. And this is not what he was built for.
So soft.
It's fucking hilarious. Yeah, he just wants to be nice to everybody.
Yeah.
When Gene does not show up for Barry's audition, Barry discovers that Fuchs is posing as a private detective to lead Gene to Detective Moss's body. Barry underperforms in his audition, much to the intrigue of the director, and leaves in a hurry. After hearing Gene explain how Barry was lost until he came to his class, an infuriated Fuchs leads him to Moss's car. After popping the trunk and showing Moss's body to the distraught Gene, Fuchs calls the police and confesses to murdering her pretending to be Gene. Fuchs then raises a gun to Gene's head while Barry races through the forest, and that is how the episode ends. What the fuck did you think was about to happen?
I was just thinking, you know what? Henry Winkler he's an old man now, and maybe like this was too much of a task for him, you know, job wise. Like he didn't think it was going to be lasting this long. And I was like, maybe this is his way out of the show. And I was like, I thought he was going to die. I thought he was going to shoot him right then and there. And I was just like,
wow.
No.
It's an interesting reason to think he was going to die, too.
Yeah.
Just like, I just can't believe Henry Winkler is doing this.
Still at it.
What did you think?
I was just so pissed at Fuchs. I couldn't get over it. I was just like, "Oh, you jealous son of a bitch! Like,
Yeah.
Now you're gonna crush Gene. You
Yeah.
know, like just the man's already broken from losing her, and then you're gonna show him her dead body
Yeah.
stuffed in a trunk like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I was so pissed.
And, yeah, like a half hour ago, we were saying how much like you still you like Fuchs. You're mad at him all the
See,
time.
that's the thing.
But
I
then
don't
this part,
like Fuchs. I
well,
never did.
okay,
He's
ever?
such a bad man.
oh
ever.
man. Well, I
He's
guess I
such a
just love
damn-
Stephen Root too much.
He's-
Maybe is what it
Well,
is.
he's a
like,
great actor, and
Yeah.
that's what I mean. I
It's
love
a great
I love it.
character.
Yeah.
He's a bad man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He executes the character so well
mhm.
that I'm just like, oh, I hate it. Like I can't stand. But it's like he plays such a good sociopath because even back in season 1, when he thinks that Barry has died in that raid with Taylor and all them,
Yeah.
and they get gunned down, he's like, Barry never even apologized to me. Like, and he's thinking that he's dead, but he has like no
Yeah.
remorse really or anything like that. He's like, oh, he never apologized to me. That was and
That's what he held on to.
yeah, and it's like you fuck son of a
Asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, because before he does try to back out. I guess he has these redemptive moments where he tries to back out of selling Barry out, where he's just trying to get him to shut up and not say anything
but
and like
he
things
tries
like
to
that.
like double cross. He tries to
But-
sell him out a few times.
Yeah.
And,
But you're probably right that ultimately it's just because he figures he knows that he'd still go to prison also anyways.
Yeah.
Like,
See, and it all revolves around him.
yep, you're right. You're right. I'm giving him too many free passes. All right, so here we go. We're about to wrap things up with the
Final episode.
the final episode of the season, and the last episode we'll get to talk about from maybe
Directed by Bill
a
Hader,
year or
looks like.
so. I'm not sure. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Directed by Bill Hader, written by Alec Berg.
He
and Bill
also
Hader.
did the Ronnie Lilly one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you feel about this one? Should I wait until we're done talking about it? Or?
That's good.
Yeah. Unable to bring himself to shoot Jean, Fuchs flees the scene. Barry and Jean are taken into custody, and Barry is soon released while Jean is arrested on suspicion of killing Janice. So, yeah, these opening moments, it was pretty crazy to see, okay, so Fuchs struggles, not able to pull that trigger. Once again, one of those things. I'm looking at it through these the different lenses than you. I'm like, oh, this another redemptive moment for him, right? And then all of a sudden, Barry shows up, or he runs off. He whispers something into Jean's ear. We don't know what he says, but it's important to know that he does do that. Runs off. Barry shows up. Does some quick thinking, tosses something into that trunk before he shuts that door, and then it cuts to the black, and immediately the next thing we know is him in the jail cell being questioned. That's actually what those opening moments are. And then a whole episode goes by, and it's just important to remember that that's really what that visual was for that opening sequence. Barry is soon released while Jean is arrested on suspicion of killing Janice. Barry calls Fuchs and promises to kill him, which was, I felt odd because I felt like, yeah, he's setting himself up for there to be evidence in a later episode of him. Why would you leave a message fucking saying that? Jean's students, sans Jean, performs their scenes in a professional theatrical venue secured by Sally's agent, Lindsay. Sally changes her scene with Barry mid-performance, declaring to Sam, played by Barry, that they are finished before Sam can choke her as originally scripted. So this moment fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, man, always on the fence about this Sally character. Really, really tough to like her.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you and I both, when we watched that together,
Just pissed. Oh.
so angry, so furious that slap she gives him across the face before they go out on stage. I don't even understand why she didn't interpret his body language as him being perfectly in character.
Because she's in her own moment of what she wants.
Exactly.
How this to go. And then she
Yeah.
even switches it up last second, which any actor will just be furious with. It's like, you know, if we had done this together, now you are embarrassing me because I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah.
Totally stole his thunder. Like that was really his moment to shine. I mean, without him reacting the way that he did the first time and the first few times is what made everything possible for her story to come out.
Yeah.
And then for her to just steal it away from him and just kind of take all the glory was kind of like in a lie even.
Yeah. It really goes to show
Yeah.
how they are in a relationship too. Like their relationship is it's gonna be more about her
Oh yeah.
than him, and she's proving it.
Like a good 90-10.
Oh
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Sally's performance is met with acclaim, which would have happened for Barry instead if they had done things, as planned. From the audience and Lindsay's colleagues, though the two of them are dismayed that they are getting attention. I butchered that. She's getting a bunch of acclaim from the audience and Lindsay's colleagues, though the two of them are dismayed that they are getting attention from telling a lie, because, of course, Lindsay also knows that that wasn't the truth.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Noho, Hank, and the Chechens move into the Buddhist monastery previously held by the Burmese mob and arm themselves for an imminent fight with the Bolivians and the Burmese. Hank reaches out to Barry for help, but Barry refuses to come. Fuchs, seeking protection from Barry, brokers a peace between all three gangs, bringing Hank and Cristobal back together in a tearful reunion.
I love that.
This whole thing was fucking amazing.
It's like Cristobal's just, I'm sorry. And Hank's just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Seriously? No, I'm sorry.
But right before that part that we were talking about at work, where how Fuchs is, he steps out and he's just kind of like, hey, what's up, guys? And it's like, and then you realize, like, they kind of just poke fun at the fact that, like,
he was actually really far
yeah,
away,
he's
and they couldn't
out of
really-
earshot.
Yeah.
You can't hear a guy
Is he
talking.
talking to us?
Yeah.
Who is it? Is that guy talking to us? Is he on Bluetooth?
Yeah.
Does he have Bluetooth?
he's
Oh,
on
no, he's
Bluetooth.
talking to us.
Oh, I hear my name.
Yeah, I
No,
heard
he's
my name.
definitely
Stop
talking
that.
to me.
That was so funny.
Oh my god. And then the speech that he gives
Yeah,
is really, really good. That's another reason why I like that character so much, is that speech he gives about the puzzle pieces, not fitting and all that kind of stuff.
When
Really,
he was
really
saying
well
that,
done.
I was like, you did it to yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Freaking jerk.
the police release Gene to Leo, his son, after finding Hank's Chechen pin near Moss's body, planted there by Barry. So that is that thing that we saw him toss into the trunk in that opening moment. I had forgotten all about it, and I was so fucking blown away that they had done such a good job piecing this episode together, deciding what sequence everything was going to be shown in. It was enough stuff happened that I forgot about what I saw in that opening moment, and I was so like blown away that I was like, that's right, he fucking threw something in the trunk. Oh my god. I mean, did you like
No, I didn't catch it.
No, yeah.
No.
Oh, that he had even thrown something
Yeah, I
in?
didn't even
Okay.
catch it the first time. I did the second time, but the first time I didn't even notice it.
Did you remember that he had done that?
Yeah,
when
I
they,
caught
yeah.
that. And I was like, why did he shut the trunk like his prints are on it?
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah, he touches a lot of things.
Yeah. That's where my mind goes.
Barry attempts to call Gene, but instead talks to Leo, who tells him that Gene has been cleared of all charges and released. Barry tells Leo that his dad was right and people really can change their nature. However, Barry gets a text from Hank almost immediately afterwards revealing Fuchs's location. Barry travels to the monastery and lays waste to various gang members, including Esther and Marbek, as he pursues Fuchs, who successfully escapes. Noho Hank's successor, Batir, sent from Chechnya, finds Hank alive at the temple and is pleased with him for killing Esther because he sees that special bullet that Hank had asked Barry to use to kill Esther. He had kept it loaded in his gun this whole time. I guess he hadn't fired at anybody at that point, and that went right through Esther's dome. So later, Gene remembers something Fuchs whispers to him before he left Gene with Moss's body, and that was, Barry Berkman did this. That's what he whispered into Gene's ear when he fled the scene, and Gene kind of leaps up in his bed and is just like, "Oh my God!" Right? Is that what he says? Or
Yeah.
and that is the end of season 2 of HBO's Barry. Holy fuck! So what'd you guys think?
Oh man.
Really well done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because now it just these characters that he looks up to Gene, and now there's going to be this conflict that it's out of the bag.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And how's Gene going to approach this, or how's he going to go about this? It's not going to be easy for Barry.
Yeah. I cannot wait. I have no idea how to I wouldn't even know how to give predictions or anything like that. Because they've shocked me a bunch of times already in these first 2 seasons, and I'm giving them. I know they're gonna do that to me again.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about the monastery scene?
Yes.
For a second.
Yes.
Like, oh my God.
Fuck.
I was sweating.
Yeah.
Just goes through and takes them out.
Yeah. Like, I don't
Just
even
the
sweat,
anger.
but I was sweating. My armpits were so wet. I was like, oh my God. He was like taking out anyone that was in eyesight.
Yeah.
Like, even that young, cute little protege
Yeah.
that totally looked up to Barry, he just blasted him.
He was seeing red. He just killed everybody. And then even when he walks back through and sees that he killed,
he's just shouting out,
Mirabek.
Fuchs!
and then when he sees that he killed Mirabek, there was almost that fuck.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
He realized what he did.
And that's what he warned him about when he met that character. Was when he got annoyed at how nonchalantly he was shooting everything, and he said something about if you wait or you hesitate or whatever, you give them a chance to shoot back or whatever, and then that's what the guy did. He was like, "Hey, oh my friend," and that gave him that moment. Otherwise, he would have totally taken Barry out. So, so that's it. That is our recap or review of season 2 of HBO's Barry. Can't wait for I cannot wait. I haven't heard anything. I kind of want to say I listened to a lot of interviews and some of the press stuff that Bill Hader was doing for season 2 while it was airing, and I kind of want to say that he said they were getting together to write season 3 in October. Hopefully I'd be happy if I was wrong and they were maybe shooting already in October. But it might be a little bit before we get a season 3, but it's gonna be worth it. They're gonna do a great job. I'm excited. As far as this show goes, I think what's next for us is I'm gonna start watching today. I'm gonna start Chernobyl.
Yeah.
I'd like to kind of do that whole miniseries. I guess it's a 5-episode series, and we'll kind of split that into a part A or part 1 and 2 kind of a thing. I think it might also be kind of fun to go back. We haven't gotten to watch, Melissa and I, season 2 of The Tick yet.
Oh, I love The Tick.
And season 1 was awesome. We can go back and do an episode of that, and then maybe we can break down season 2. Because I think there's shorter episodes also, 30 minutes or even less, maybe.
Yeah.
And that might be kind of just a fun one that might cheer us up after the Chernobyl stuff, too. Kind of a little balancing act there. Plus, it'll kind of give us the excuse we need to branch out beyond just the HBO programming.
I'm currently finishing season 3 of True Detective, but also started Letterkenny.
Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting. I want to check that out. So how is that? Where is that discoverable at? Is that
Hulu?
Okay. Yeah. And how long has that one been out?
I think 2 seasons.
Okay.
I think 2 is what I've seen, but I'm only about 4 or 5 episodes into the first season, and it's episodic. There isn't really a general storyline to follow. It's just these guys and a girl, and just what they do on a daily basis, I guess.
Nice.
Just how they interact with their town.
Yeah.
From what you've shown us, it's freaking hilarious.
There's some those YouTube clips you can find and stuff like that. Yeah. So if anybody's interested in figuring out what we're seeing, what we're talking about, Letterkenny is something you can look up some stuff on YouTube, or you can stream it on Hulu. There's a couple seasons. We'll see if we can tackle that one here pretty soon too. So I got a whole list of stuff, things coming out throughout the year. I kind of need to take a moment to kind of figure out the exact order in which things are being released. I know that Black Mirror also came out yesterday, the next season of that. Apparently it's only 3 episodes.
No way.
And also it kind of seems like people have mixed feelings about it. So I'm going to watch them. If I think they're terrible, I don't want to sit here for an hour and a half and trash on them and talk a bunch of shit. I don't really want to be that guy. But
it's kind of like how I don't want to do Swamp Thing now because I'm just gonna badmouth these.
Yeah.
Canceling this great looking show after episode 1.
Yeah.
People really liking it, and DC's nah.
Yeah, so that one's iffy, but that one's fresh, and so there's a good reason to give that one a shot. So so that's the next stuff that might be coming up for Exoverse TV. We'll go ahead and wrap things up here. Thank you very much, Derek, for joining me again, coming down here all the way from Modesto. Thank you very much for Melissa for joining me. I know that
coming from the other room.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I know that you would have preferred to catch up on some sleep.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm right there with you on that.
Fuck you for asking me to do this.
It's definitely nap time.
Yeah. So, so thank you guys very much. We'll be coming at you again pretty soon with the Chernobyl review, and then you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at ExoverseTV for more updates on other stuff we'll be covering. I'll maybe put some polls out to see what you guys might have to suggest. You can also follow Exoverse Media on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter as well for general updates on everything going on the site there. So thank you guys very much. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.